This is the mockery side. I said at the end of the tape on the other side that I make fun of people who deserve to be made fun of. Well, some people may actually not. I just want to make fun of them. In many cases, or most cases, the reason I'm making a mockery at certain people, it's because I'm mad because they gave me the "you're not one of us" treatment and wouldn't give me any social acceptance and accept me as one of them. See, like, for example, when I don't get accepted by the metal scene, the black metal scene in particular, I get pissed off. See, many of the things I've done, they say that I was making a mockery of them, like my Rejuvenation magazine. Well, I only have one thing to say about that. The more they piss me off by not accepting me and telling me that I'm doing it the wrong way, the more I want to do it that way. They should accept that. They should accept me the way I am like that. They should start doing it too. And even if I really am doing it wrong, it's partly their fault because they didn't take me aside and show me the way to be that way, to be a stereotypical black metalhead. But as far as I'm concerned, when I look in the mirror, I see a stereotypical black metalhead. Okay, I don't play a guitar, I'm not a vocalist, and I'm not a drummer. But I still fit the stereotype perfectly. I am the type who would be. Don't ever say I'm not the type. I damn well am the type. And as for those people who say, "Oh, you don't look like the type who would get into fights. You don't look tough." Well, I'm Mr. Barroom Brawler. Although, this is kind of outside of the black metal genre, I think that I do bear a slight resemblance, or rather a big resemblance, to Lemmy of Motorhead. Lemmy could pass for black metal. When people don't give me no social acceptance, it's like, hey, I might as well pull my pants up to my chest and shake my hips. I ain't getting no social acceptance anyway, right? No. There's this one guy when I was in the 6th grade. His name was Sullivan. I call him Smartass Sullivan. Man, with a name like that, you have to be a smartass. Besides, they both begin with S. Anyway, this guy who I call Smartass Sullivan, one time I saw him on the playground talking to the Dunham girls, all 3 of them. They were all sisters, all 3 of them. I wonder how he did it. I wish I knew his secret. I'll bet he was having an orgasm while he was talking to all 3 of them. He was probably having multiple orgasms as he was talking to them. A fart, a fuck, a fooey on you, fooey, fooey, fooey on you. I would not want to go into the poor neighborhoods, or certain poor neighborhoods of Cleveland or anywhere else for that matter, because there's a lot of Motley Crue poser sleazes living down there. That's Motley Crue poser sleazeville down there. I'll mimic one of their songs. Remember Looks That Kill? Now she's bulletproof. She keeps her motor clean. And believe me, you, she's a no Bubba Keen. Oh, who cares about the right words to the songs? It's more fun to sing the wrong words to the songs than it is to sing the right words to the songs. You get a reaction from other people. I'll sing an Ozzy Osbourne song with the wrong words to the song. Got this crazy feeling I don't understand. Gotta get away from here. Feeling like I should have kept my feet on the ground, waiting for the subway to appear. Da-da-da-da-da. Mama's gonna worry. I've been a bad, bad boy. No use saying sorry. It's something that I enjoy. If you could see inside my head, you'd see that black and white is red. That crying head, that crying head. I can see through mountains, watch the kids all around. I can even touch the sky, swallowing colors of the sound I hear. Am I just a crazy guy you fear? Mama's gonna worry. I've been a bad, bad boy. No use saying sorry. It's something that I enjoy. That crying head, da 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 da. That crying head, da 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 da. That crying head. Now I'll make fun of an Elton John song. She's got electric boots, a Mohazoo. You know I'd rather than a Megosaya. Oh whoa. Betty and the Jacks. What the hell is a Megosai? Now I'll make fun of an AC/DC song, Dog Eat Dog. Well, it's a dog eat dog. Eat the cat too. Precious frog. Lies with you. Businessman, when you make a deal, do you know who you can trust? Dun, da, dun, dun, dun. Do you sign your life away? Do you write your name in dust? Hey, 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 every dog has his day. It's a doggy dog. A doggy dog. Dog eat a dog. Read the news. Some men win. Some men lose. Echoes once and echoes twice and echoes in between. After you win, you're bound to lose. You're satisfied again. Hey, 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 hey. Every dog has his day. It's a dog eat the dog. Dog eat dog. Dog, dog, dog. Do 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 do. And it's an eye for eye, a tooth got tooth. It's a lie that pursues. See the bad man on the street looking for something sweet. That's a kind man. Ask his friend, what is it for me? Hey, hey, hey. Every dog has his day. It's a dog eat the dog. A dog eat the dog. Now I'm gonna sing Honky Tonk Women by the Rolling Stones. I met a Jensen Sparrow queen in the village. She tried to take me upstairs for my rights. She had to beat me right on across the shoulder. 'Cause I just can't seem to drink up my mind. No, 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 no. It's a honk and a nonk. It tonk band up and current another. Give me the honky tonk band up and later there's more fighting. No, you're timid. I had to walk but out of some kind of a fight. Later, did she call on me, Aunt Rosie? She blew my doors and later she blew my mind. At one time I thought they were saying the honky chot too. This next thing I'm going to do is dedicated to people who ride motorcycles. Riding them in the street. I think it's gonna be dangerous. Somebody once asked me when I was in second grade and making that chant, they said, why is it gonna be dangerous? Well, I don't know. My old man said so. A soldier's a moron. I'll make a mockery of anyone all I want. Next one, I'm going to make fun of his kids with short haircuts that take theology. They wear their hair way up above their ear. They wear those hypocrisy haircuts. I'm talking about the ones cut above and around the ear. Reason I'm doing that is because one time some kid with a short haircut like I described was saying, look at his gay smile, but I thought he was a hypocrite. Dumb Catholic boy who was the damn hypocrite because he had a gay haircut. But he's saying about my gay smile. Back when I went to school in the 70s, junior high and high school, if you made things in art class or crafts class that they thought was that didn't met their approval, they'd say, those are little gay things. Well, I happen to like making little gay things. When the guy said, look at his gay smile, I figured I might as well do a gay dance and show his hypocrisy to him. One girl once wrote me and said that my magazine Rejuvenation and what she called my own revised brand of Satanism, she said it looked like I'm twisting Satanism around and making a mockery of real Satanists. Well, I only got one thing to say about that. All the Satanists should accept me and go my way, because my way is superior to all others. That's the way they should be. They should all bow down and worship me. In fact, all the scenes and all the cliques of the world should all bow down and worship me. Mainstreamers, too. They should let me run everything. They should let me run their scene. They should let me dictate how to do things. Because my way of how to have a good time on the weekend night is superior to theirs. I want people to bend to my will. I couldn't be happy any other way. All those all-American jock boys playing basketball. Play basketball. Play basketball. This is a basketball team. Yeah, they deserve to be made fun of. This one time in the 11th grade, in graphic arts class where they let us play a radio, the song Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd came on, and I was jumping up and down in the air and shaking my head around to it, and somebody said, "Joe's going wild." Another guy said, "Calm down, Joe." And finally, this one guy walked past me to go to the bathroom, and he said on his way, "Why don't you just knock it off before I break your face?" Why, I can only figure one thing about people who act that way to me, and people who reject me and give me the silent treatment. I know they're jealous of me. They're jealous. They're jealous of my happiness. They see me being happy because they're miserable, maybe because they were abused physically or sexually all their life, and they just want to seize my happiness away from me. They just want to take it away from me. That's it. They're jealous. They're jealous of me. But if they would let me show them the way, I could show them the way to happiness. But they love misery. They have a lot of fucking nerve complaining about their hard fucking life. Is it hard for any of you to understand the supposed contradiction of, wanting to be in with a certain crowd of people, wanting it so bad, and yet at the same time being afraid to approach that group for fear of what might happen? You might get beat up, you might get punched, who knows, or they might just embarrass the fuck out of you. Well, that's the way it was when I first started getting into metal. I didn't know one kind of metal from another. I sometimes ended up at poser shows. You know, those people with the glamour haircuts like Rod Stewart. In fact, one time I went to a hairstyling place, and I told them I wanted a metal haircut. By the time the lady got done with me, I ended up looking like Rod Stewart. How was I supposed to know? I had nobody to guide me, nobody to tell me, "Joe, if you want to be black metal, you don't go to a poser show," or "Joe, if you want to be mainstream metal, you don't go to a poser show." I had no guidance. And that's their fault. That's the fault of the people in the metal scene. I remember back when I was 23, it was like, since I couldn't get in with the metal people, I figured I was going to go out somewhere else in the world and find people who weren't, and mold them into one and create my own metal people. Hard to believe, but that's what I thought at the time. I remember cruising around out into the boonies late on Friday and or Saturday night looking for runaway teenage girls, and so that I could listen to metal with them in my car while we cruised. And I remember cruising out into the boonies and going through small towns and feeling like my skeleton was going to burst right out of my flesh and go running across the cornfield in frustration. What was my frustration, you ask? Well, I went to the small towns because I wanted to find a town full of people who would all be weaker than me and would look up to me as a person that they would both fear and respect, and who would become their leader. I was entering the small towns as the big evil monster. But my skeleton was ready to burst out of my flesh because I couldn't gain any social acceptance from any group anywhere. Yep, my early 20s was a very rough time. So was my mid-20s. And you wonder why I want to go back and recreate my teen years. Once I would do that, then I want to recreate my early 20s. You see, back then, I didn't know how to make it in the nightclubs, how to succeed. You know, taking a piece of ass home. Furthermore, I didn't think of it that way. I looked at it like it was a place to get get involved, start up one of them storybook romances. Well, I sure as fuck know a hell of a lot better now. Wrong place. Now I know it's head games, but I didn't know back then because I didn't have anyone to really explain it to me. And if they did, I probably didn't listen, maybe, because I felt that if I found the right place, I could have it exactly as I wanted. The only lines, opening lines, that is, introductions to get conversations that started that I knew was stuff like, haven't I seen you somewhere before, and would you like some of my popcorn? I can't finish it. Nope, I am not mocking myself. I'm talking about myself, but see, it isn't my fault. There was nobody there to tell me certain things. How can I know what you're supposed to say, what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to get interested in, when everybody gives you the you're not one of us treatment and the silent treatment and blows you off? It's pretty difficult. At one time there, I kept complaining I wanted to be a burnout, and I think somebody said, or they would have said if they heard me say it, that I wanted to be a burnout, they would have said, why don't you go and get some drugs? Well, that's pretty difficult when for a long time there I didn't have access to people that could get me any fucking drugs. I had nobody to sell me no pot. I didn't know how to locate those kind of fucking people. Now you may be saying, well, they're all over, you just gotta look for them. Well, it was pretty difficult then. I didn't ask to be born in suburbia where I was so protected. Protected, where I had all my needs met. I don't want people thinking of me that way. I want to be treated like I came from a broken home so I can have the kind of women that people from broken homes get. The girls like the ones on, like Beverly Hills 90210, like Shannon Doherty, girls like that, they kind of suck. I'm not saying they don't have nice bodies, because they do, but their lifestyle sucks. I used to go to many metal shows before people even knew that I existed at those shows. They just completely fucking ignored me, and it wasn't easy making contact. Many times I used to imagine myself grabbing somebody around the neck who tells me I'm not metal and say, I'm metal, and don't you fucking forget that. Don't ever say I'm not the type. I damn well am the type. What they didn't realize is that I would sell my soul, that I would have sold my soul just for one night to go to a metal show with a sexy broad and go home and fuck her after the show. I would sell my soul. Yes, I would. And nobody should. And just because I would be willing to sell my soul to get that, I should be able to do just that very thing and get that very thing for doing it, for selling my soul. That's the way I look at it. At least up until now, anyway. Now I'm not sure what to think sometimes. Let me confess a masochistic desire when I was because there was a short period of time there where I was threatening to spread flyers in the metal underground to discredit bands, saying stuff like, oh, don't write to this band or that band, they're a fucking ripoff. I'll see, I was hoping that some guys in the black metal scene would catch up to me, take me somewhere and say, motherfucker, you're going to learn how to be just like us even if it kills you. And they would teach me exactly how to be that way. They would mold me. They would even force me down, maybe tie me down or at least hold me down, two big guys, while another one forced me to get a tattoo. Now, why would I want that? Because I don't want to have to pay for one. I'd have it for free. Oh yeah, I'd go through pain. But if they fucked up and did it wrong, hey, I could always report them to the authorities and say that they took advantage of a poor little old me handicapped person, and sue them. on the basis that they took advantage of a poor handicapped individual. I worked at this restaurant when I was about 24, 25. Yeah, 25, called Our Gang Lounge. And every Friday night, I would bring my radio in and blast this college radio show that played black metal and death metal. You know, like Hellhammer and Celtic Frost and Venom. Well, I kind of forced my music on everybody, but I figured that anybody in the black metal scene would fully approve. It's like I figured that they would all do it, and because I didn't have any of them types around, the ones that fit the stereotype perfectly, I just assumed they would do things like that, because there certain medias and shit portray them as that. And one night when they tried to switch my station, and they got all pissed at me, and one guy threatened to break my arm, and then I got into a bad mood, and a waitress came along asking me to do something, so I threw a plate at her or something, and she got mad and went back there and threatened next time she would shove it up my ass. Well, some people may say that by doing that I was making giving black metal people, or metal people in general, perhaps a bad name. Well, that's their fault, that the stereotypical metalheads, because they didn't show me the real way. They didn't tell me that they would never do stuff like that. It's their fault. Going back to the people who said, well, why don't you just go out and get yourself some drugs? Well, first of all, my body never craved drugs or alcohol. I could take them or leave them, but I wanted to do them as my image, or at least be thought of as the type who would. But I think it's an unfair thing for people to go around with this attitude. You can't be in with us because you don't do drugs, you don't do alcohol. I always thought of it as an unfair way of weeding people out from their group. Yes, I should be able to use it as my drugs, alcohol, as my image without actually doing them, and have the people accept me as one of them, and then turn around and do things my way, be burnouts my way. Yes, we could sit around and make a-la-tet noises in order. They could do it while they smoke their pot, and I just sit there pretending to be smoking pot. If you got a problem with me carrying on like this, and you're thinking to yourself, well, who the fuck does this asshole think he is? Well then, come to me and show me the right way to do it. Because I'm willing to go to full cycle. I remember when I was going to electronics school, this ex-Vietnam veteran was there. He came in. No, he didn't come in late. Well, he often did come in a little late, but he was keeping to himself, not talking to anybody. And this one other guy made a comment about how he wasn't talking to anybody, and the Vietnam veteran said to him, well, you got it easy. You're still living at home, right? And he's like, yeah. He says, well, then okay. Well, and because this Vietnam veteran was out on his own, he had a wife, and he had several kids, and he was laid off or whatever, and going back to school to try to get a new trade under his belt, and he was drinking cheap wine because I could smell it on his breath, and he's bitching about the way his life is going. Well, what the fuck has somebody like that got to complain about? He's got a wife, he's got kids, he's able to be married and go back to school while he's married. I would sell my soul to be in his shoes exactly as he is. No, I don't want his kids because they're not my blood. But I would sell my soul and be willing to burn in hell for all eternity after I die to be in his shoes. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And I wish there was a fucking satanic magic ritual that could make sure that I would end up in that situation. Yeah, you may stand there saying, oh, you don't know what those people go through. Well, how do you know? See, I'm Mr. Dysfunctional Family Life Expert. I'm Mr. Broken Home Life Expert. See, when people have problems in their home, they should come to me for advice. I would sell my soul to be in that guy's predicament. He ain't got nothing to complain about. Or perhaps you're thinking, that guy needs a good lesson. He should end up in that predicament just so he can see what it's like. Well, then, maybe you should say a prayer or a satanic chant or something to make sure that I end up in that situation. See, I see intrinsic beauty in that which people call a curse or misery. You know, such as being married and having several kids of your own blood, and having a lot on your mind, quote unquote, and having to go back to school while you're married, and having so much shit on your mind. I see intrinsic beauty in that. And nobody should try to tell me, yo, you don't want that. You'd be miserable if you had that. You couldn't handle it. Well, who are they to tell me how I would feel if I was in that predicament? Or tell me, you don't want that. How do they know? They can't see inside my head. My generation is disgusting. The 90s suck with all these people that prefer to remain single and not have kids. I mean, yeah, if that's their personal preference, but there's so many of them. It's like nobody glorifies the having kids thing anymore, like they did back in the 50s and 60s, and that's the way it should be now. Me, personally, I would much rather find someone and have 1 to 6 kids or more, and then get divorced and have to pay alimony for my ex-wife and all those kids, than to go through life single. I would sell my soul to switch from being single to the other that I just mentioned. I don't see why people don't see intrinsic beauty in it. While I'm at it, the next thing I'd like to do is pick on these parents who don't think that their teenagers are adults. And they talk about all this youth corruption and complain, oh, you're corrupting the youth with that bad music or those movies. Well, that so-called corruption, youth corruption, is actually healthy information and wholesome entertainment. In other words, I see intrinsic beauty in the idea of a teenager seeing a Manson movie like Helter Skelter, becoming influenced by it, copying it, and then ending up in, quote-unquote, trouble for it. See, he should not be protected from his desire to do that. Yeah, I see intrinsic beauty in a teenager imitating the Manson movie. Yes, as long as it's not me and it's not any kids that I might have or anyone else I'm close to, why should I care? And I got something to say to parents who have teenage daughters who keep them in at night thinking that, on weekend nights, thinking, well, this will keep them from getting pregnant. Well, I only got one thing to say to you parents. Locked doors won't stop me. I might bust your door down, come in, bop you over the head, maybe stab you, and then I'll go fuck your teenage daughters. There's only one place your teenage daughters really should be at night, and that's out on the street where people like me can pick them up. I get really damn sick and tired of cruising around late at night on a weekend night and not seeing fucking teenage girls on the street to pick up. I'm really tired of parents like you. And don't start saying, oh, they're only kids. I won't accept that. I will not accept that teenagers are still children. No way. The more you say that they're just children, the more you make me want to seduce them. I ain't got no use for your moral value system. I ain't got no use for any of your bullshit. If I want to fuck your teenage daughter, I'll fuck your teenage daughter. And those of you who are older guys who got younger sisters who are teenagers, I'll fuck your teenage sister if I want. And to you mainstreamers that hate Satanists, I will take your teenage daughter or sister away from God and deliver them unto Satan's power. Well, hey, don't get mad at me. Maybe they don't want to be with God. Maybe they want to be with me and let me fuck them. You shouldn't be forcing them to be wholly against their wishes and keep their virginity. If they want to give it up, let them fucking give up their virginity. And besides, take it easy on me, man. I'm just a kid. This is the Twilight Zone. I'm 13 again. And besides, I'm innocent till proven guilty. If you punch me out on the basis of what I might do before I've actually done it, you're the one who will be in trouble. You're the one who will go to jail. If you shoot me and you kill me, you're the one who will spend the rest of your life in prison, and they'll probably rape you in there too. I don't know how they treat me if I went to prison. I imagine it wouldn't be good, but see, if I went to prison for fucking teenage girls and killing their parents because they oppressed them, they should be looking up to me as a big hero. See, a lot of people end up in prison because their parents didn't give them enough freedom. Some people will argue that it's just the opposite. Well, I say bullshit. I used to steal pencils from the library because I wanted to be known as a juvenile delinquent. I wanted to be known as a delinquent, and a few years later I talked about how I did it, and somebody said to me, if you want to be a delinquent, you steal a car. Well, maybe it appeared like I was making fun of the delinquents. Well, that's their fault. They should have showed me their way on how to be a delinquent. They should have come out from the tough area in the city, kidnapped me from the suburb, take me into their area, and said, motherfucker, you're going to learn how to be a delinquent if it kills you. And see, it's their fault. They didn't show me how to crack a steering column. If they had, I would be a master car thief. Sometimes I still wish they would come and kidnap me and take me somewhere and force me to learn how to be a delinquent. And then, if they screw up and I end up getting arrested, either by myself or along with them, I'll say that they took advantage of a poor, handicapped individual. They held a gun to my head. They outnumbered me. When I hear me show the hypocrisy, I want to show you the hypocrisy of the 1970s classic rock people. That's part of a Rod Stewart song. That's the sound of the power screaming guitars. Mosquito, don't come in, Mr. Mosquito, don't come in. Biz, sting, sting, sting. Biz, sting, sting, sting. Ha ha, biz, sting, sting, sting. Trendy people deserve to be made fun of. Trendiness is feeble-minded. To anyone who's been sexually abused as a kid, ha ha, you got sexually abused. You got raped by your daddy, you got raped by your step-parent, nah, 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 nah. To anyone who's been physically abused by their parent, you got beat up by your daddy, nah, 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 nah. You got beat up by your step-parent, ha, 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 ha. To anyone who claims that they had a hard fucking life, well, I could teach them a thing or two about what a hard fucking life really is. You know what a harder fucking life is than being physically or sexually abused as a kid? Or being neglected and having to eat out of garbage cans and McDonald's dumpsters? Well, that would be a life of being constantly rejected by people and not being able to be accepted by those who society considers to have the hard life, the ones who are abused and neglected. It doesn't matter if you were in the suburbs and came from a good home. If you want to be accepted by a certain kind of people and they don't accept you, that is a truly hard fucking life. Next, I'm going to play Loudness, the band Loudness. You may remember them from the 80s. Well, this one song that's on there, I used to hear it on the radio at night, on weekend nights when I was cruising around looking for runaway teenage girls and a chance to recreate my teen years and slip into the Twilight Zone and correct that little mistake that fate made, which is not having a social and love life as a teenager. Well, anyway, here's the song that made me want to, my skeleton feel like it was going to burst out of my flesh. These guys sound like they're on 1,000 milligrams of PCP. At least that's what I thought when I first heard this song. This song makes you want to go back in time and be a heavy metal stoner and a punk rocker at the same time. Skipped ahead here. Epic ale. Epic ale. Epic ale. Sounds like they're saying epic ale. Shortly after I taped this song off the radio, I went into the Navy, but I didn't like it there, so I told them that I had lied when I applied to the Navy and didn't admit that I had been in psychiatric treatment once before, so they discharged me. Besides, I wanted to get back home. I missed all that metal music. At boot camp, we didn't have access to it. Originally, I went in there because I figured that I would be able to make some good money and save for college, and they told me I could even go to college while I was in there, and I figured then when I got out, I could grow my hair to my waist and be a heavy metal stoner and a punk rocker. Somebody who knew I was going into the Navy said that I shouldn't do it, and said instead I should get a guitar and start playing, but he didn't really tell me how to go about it. And then when I got into the Navy, I had to put up with this one officer from the Philippines, and his name was Aguda. And every time I hear loudness, I figured, because they're like of Oriental descent too, and why couldn't he be more like them instead of a fucking military officer? I call him Stupid Aguda. By the way, before this tape ends, I want to say I'd like to form a group of people that would like to sit around and sing the wrong words to the songs along with me. There really isn't much more time on this tape, so I guess I may as well sign off now.